Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. And we're continuing our conversation and journey to configure the human resource module. So, last time we actually talked about the contractors, which is the screen that you see here, talked about a little bit the difference between a contractor and an employee. In terms of their employee record, it's all the same form, the same fuels, but it's just that they are being categorized in a different manner and the contractors sit here on the screen. So today we're going to talk about the workers, past workers, and pending workers. So if you get the chance to do so. So let's get into it. So when you click on workers, if you recall a long time ago, I talked about different kind of legal entities. And I also mentioned a drawback at some point where you can't identify which legal entity is paying the employee. So in our case, our legal entity, which is basically a company, is USMF. So USMF is paying its active employees. Remember that workers and employees are different. So employees are a list of basically employees who are or who belong to the company, to a legal entity, the USMF. Whereas workers is a list of all employees that belong to many legal entities if they exist. So in this case, for instance, if I click on Aaron, I would know exactly who is paying Aaron, like which company is paying Aaron. So at one point I mentioned that there was a drawback where you couldn't figure out which employee belonged to which legal entity. But recently a new update that came through and now you actually know which legal entity this employee belongs to. So for instance, if I click on Aaron, you see Contoso Consulting USA. That is the legal entity that is paying Aaron. So Aaron belongs to this company or this legal entity. So he's an employee of this company. And if I look at the positions that they're assigned to, so this position must belong to Contoso Consulting USA. And a good thing about this form is basically you get a full list of employees across all legal entities, right? So all your entities that have to do, they could be a consolidation companies and whatnot. They roll up to a main branch. All of those employees are listed here. So if I go on Aaron Painter, for instance, he's also in Contoso Retail USA. So you can go through the list and see which employees actually belong where. So they all actually belong to Contoso Retail USA. But think of it this way. I'm actually in USMF. So I'm looking at employees on Contoso Retail USA. So that basically should give you an idea that the list of workers here belong to different legal entities, and that's all there is to it. To be honest, there's nothing more that you need to know from this form. And up here you could also see that they're all active and they're all legal entities. Moving forward to past workers, so it's very intuitive. When you terminate an employee, they would end up in this form as past workers. And if I click on past workers, everything is the same. This is the form that you've seen. The only thing that you would see or notice is up above the exited and some of the dates. So this is the reason code that they used to terminate. So this employee was not happy with their salary. So the HR, when they were terminating, they wanted to make sure that why they exited, and they picked the reason code low salary, and the end date was, I guess, December 2 2009. Everything else remains the same, so it is still a record, and this record can be activated once Alyssa decides to come back to the company. So this record would not get deleted whatsoever, and you can't really delete it because it probably has transactions against it. Going into work history, for instance, will give you a glimpse of what might have happened, like in terms of when the employee started, when the termination day was, even when the position was. So the position itself is also captured here. So once in position is 4, the reason code was low salary, and the status passed. So they are exited, or they have exited already. And nothing more than that in this form. Of course, you can go into the compensation and see what the compensation was assigned. I don't think any compensation was assigned. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, no compensation was assigned, but you would have a huge list if this employee stayed in the organization for a long time. The compensation bands and whatever the compensation was would have been here. Actually, if the status is all, yeah, so it doesn't seem like no compensation was assigned to them. But it should have been here. So it's a repository for you, just in case if something changes, you would know exactly where Alyssa sat at one point when she got terminated. Going into pending workers, so pending workers is pretty, cool feature, you could say. Basically, in this case, Jack Sparrow is the one who is starting in a couple days from now, and that's why he's pending. And if anything changes, of course, then you can always make changes to the Jack Sparrow's uh, forms and information that's available to him. But in our case, the way we identify Jack Sparrow as a pending worker is based on their start workday. So you could see here it's 11/16/2023. That's when they will start, or that's when Jack would start his first day on the assignment that he's been hired for. And today is 11/13, so it's basically 3 days from now. Jack will start his first day at work. So when the internal clock for the system kicks in, so November 16, for instance, kicks in, Jack Sparrow would automatically disappear from here. So, you can take that. We'll come back to it actually on November 16th or sometime when I post another video, just to show you that Jack Sparrow has disappeared past the November 16th. So you don't really need to do anything. All you have to do is when you hire a new employee, if their start date is, past the date of today, for instance, they will be in pending, and you can put their information as you go under the profile. Everything is still the same, all the tabs are still the same, nothing actually changes. uh, One thing that I didn't want to note is that you can hire an employee without a position, so that's a different conversation, a different scenario. But you can have an active employee or a pending employee without a position. Of course, they won't get paid because the payroll requires you to, throw or push out a position. Otherwise, how would you get paid, right? That's something that comes with the implementation experience and some of the stuff that we'll talk about when we get to the position piece. But for the sake of conversation, you can hire an employee without a position. Okay, so with that, I'll stop our video and we'll continue conversing about the human resources, and we'll talk about some of these three things here under the drop down of workers, and then we'll move on to something exciting like actions.